So, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining this demo session. So, today, this particular demo session is on mastering performance testing with JMeter tool. So, this is a 6 week training plan. So, I'm planning in such a way I'll cover from very scratch onwards to till the advanced topic. So, that is what my intention is. So there are two different course contents which are available. I'll just show you both the course contents and we'll discuss about the fee structure for both the course content. Okay, and we'll discuss about the duration also for each and every course content separately. Okay, but before jumping into that topic, right, I just want to understand how many of you know the difference between the response time and full page response time? What is response time and what is full page response time? How many of you know the difference? Guys, please make it as interactive. Please unmute yourself and let me know. Difference between response time and full page response time. Have you heard these terms? Have you heard these terms, guys?
No,
No?
no.
Okay. What about others? I hope.
No, actually,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Okay. Okay. So all of you, like how many of you are working on JMeter or at least on performance testing with any other tool like JMeter or load runner, whatever it may be? How many of you are working on performance testing? So may I know that? Just please raise your hands. Yeah. Yeah, Gauri. I know, Gauri, you are
Not
working.
work. I'm not. I'm also not working.
You are also.
Performance.
Okay. So yeah, Rohit, you are working on performance testing. Got it. Rohit, can I get like what is the difference between response time and full page response time? What is the difference between those two? Rohit or RP? Any one of you? You can unmute and you can answer this.
For the response time, right? We can like it is like the application response time, like how much time it is taking while like to respond for the request which we have sent.
Mm, to how much time it has taken to get the response back to the request that we have sent. Okay.
Time. Yes.
Okay. That is response time. And what about the full page response time?
Full page response time. It is the average response time, I guess.
Not the average. Yeah. Any guess, RP, from your end?
Yes, Mohan. So actually the response time is nothing but whenever we are getting a response from the server side, first response. So means that whenever we are getting from the server and suppose that there is a website, so it turns first byte. Okay, so first byte whenever it, that is response time. And full response time is nothing but whenever we can see the complete page of the website, that is called full response time.
Mm, So what I can say here is, let me try to open a new tab and let me open the developer tools. I don't know how many of you are aware of developer tools, but still, if you are not aware of developer tools, don't worry. We have a separate session on this developer tools concept, and I'll discuss each and every point over here, okay, in a more clear way. But for now, what I'll do is, I'll try to hit application URL. Okay, I'll try to hit this application URL, whatever the application URL that we are trying to access, okay, that we are trying to test. So this is the application that we are trying to test. So I'm just trying to hit that URL. So once if we hit that URL, like as per our understanding, right, till now, let us say if we are, let us consider this as a Flipkart application. Okay, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to hit the Flipkart application URL. So once if I hit the Flipkart application URL, so what will happen on the developer tools, we'll try to see right now. Okay, we'll see that right now and try to understand what exactly the response time is. Okay, so we'll see that first. Okay, let it load. What else? What I'll do is let me type like flipkart.com only. Okay, instead of wasting time, let me type flipkart.com, right? So if I type flipkart.com, what is happening here on the developer tools, if you observe, so I just entered only like www.flipkart.com. But what happened here? Once after hitting enter, these many requests are sent to the server. Total how many requests? Let me stop the process of here. Okay. So how many requests total it has sent to the server? 117 requests got sent to the server, right? How it happened? And what is the response time here? What is the response time here? Is nothing but, see, if you observe the first one, www.flipkart.com, this is the request. This is a single request. Okay. And the second one, crosscommon.css, this is one more request. Okay. Like that, total we have 117 requests here. That means once after hitting this URL, we are unknowingly sending like 117 requests to the server, right? Each and every request will go to the server, right? And what the server will do is it is going to simply try to understand that request first, okay? And after understanding that request, it is going to process that request, and finally the server will send the response back here. So once once after getting the response back from the server, you will see this kind of user interface. Whatever that you are seeing here on the left hand side, you will see this kind of user interface once after getting the response from the server. Okay. So for each request, the same process will happen, right? So the total time it has taken for this particular request alone, okay, to get the response back from the server, that is nothing but your response time. Okay, response time is nothing but if we are sending this single request alone, right? How much time it has taken for this single request to get the response back from the server, right? That time we are going to call it as the response time. Starting from sending the request onwards till this particular request is going to get the response. How much time it has taken? That is nothing but your response time. But what is full page response? Full page response time or full page load time, we can call it as. If you see here it is saying like the total load time for this particular page, right? The entire page is nothing but 13.51 seconds. This is nothing but the total load time of this page. So this particular page is having like multiple requests, right? Each and every request is also having some response time. If you observe the second request is having like 577 milliseconds as the response time. And the third request is also having some response time. Like that, each and every request is going to have some response time, right? If you add all these response times, starting from the second, like the millisecond, okay, from when you have started sending the request till the entire page is going to load, right? Till the entire page is going to load. That time we are going to call it as the full page response time. Okay, we'll discuss more in depth about this right now. Okay, so for now, hope you got some clarity. Yeah, please.
What is DOM, and DOM?
I'll come to that. I'll explain all these things, but again, so whatever that is required for today session, I'll explain that. But going forward in the developer tool session, I'll explain each and every option, whatever that you are seeing here, in a more in-depth way. Yeah, Gauri, please go ahead.
I have a small request. As a non-performance test engineer, can we start recording this session? Is there any possibility?
Yeah, it started. I'm going to share it with you after this session. Okay.
Okay. It can't happen from our side, right?
No, you can't do it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I'll share the session. Okay. No worries. Okay. So this is what the difference between the response time and full page response time. Okay. Let's try to understand in a more deeper way. Okay. Let's try to understand in a more deeper way. Right. So what we have done here is, so we are trying to hit the Flipkart URL, right? So once if you hit this URL on the browser, what will happen next? How many of you know this? Once if you open the browser and if you hit this URL, what will happen first? As a first step, what will happen here?
It send the request to the server and the respective page will open.
See, this is your client. Client is nothing but your browser. Okay. So this is your client. Okay. So in the browser, you are going to type the URL www.flipkart.com and you are going to hit enter. Right. So once after hitting the enter, the request will go to the server. Okay. The request will go to the server. But how the request will identify that this is the Flipkart server? How this URL will do that? What happens immediately after hitting this URL on the browser? What happens? Obviously, whatever that you said is right. The request will go to the server and server will give the response back. That will happen. But what happens in between? That we need to know. As a performance tester, it is mandatory for us to know that part. Okay, let's try to discuss that. Right. So first, once if you hit this URL, right, what will happen? No? So what is this? www.flipkart.com. This URL, it is divided into three different parts. One is the HTTPS, that is the protocol. Okay, we are going to call this as a protocol. And this one, www.flipkart.com, we are going to call it as domain name. Okay. And this slash onwards, whatever the rest that is there on the right hand side. Okay. If something is there, okay, whatever the rest that is going to be there after this slash onwards, we are going to call this as path. Okay, so this entire URL I have divided into three different parts. We'll see the complete structure of the URL also going forward in our regular sessions. But on a high level, okay, this HTTPS is nothing but the protocol. Okay, I'm writing with the mouse. Please ignore my handwriting. Okay, this HTTPS is the protocol and this www.flipkart.com is the domain name, or we can call it as server name, and this slash represents the path. Okay, so how this particular, once if you are giving the domain name here, how this domain name will understand like the request should go to this server itself, how it will understand is nothing but once after hitting the enter on your browser, right? So what will happen immediately? First, the request will go to the DNS, domain name system. The request will go to the domain name system. So this domain name system is nothing but simply I can call this as a phone book. Okay. So previously we have like telephone directories, right? So we can call this as a telephone directory. So what we'll have in the telephone directory? Obviously, we are going to have some names. Okay, to that respective name, we'll have one phone number. In the same way, this domain name, okay, for each and every domain name, there will be some respective IP address attached to it. That particular information is going to be available in domain name server or domain name system. So once after hitting the enter, immediately the request will go to the domain name system, and in that particular domain name system, for this particular domain name, whatever the IP address is there, that IP address it is gonna fetch. For example, there is some IP address called 192.168.1.7, something like this. Some IP address is there. Okay, of the server. This is the IP address of your server, right? So once if you type this URL, what will happen? This that request will go to the domain name system and it will fetch the IP address of that particular server, as well as it will also fetch the port number. Okay, it will also fetch the port number. What is port number? How we can define a port number in a simple way, in an easy understandable way. Port number is nothing but like your if you are living on a flat, for example, like apartment, right? So on what the port number will represent is it represents your flat number. If the domain name represent this IP address represents the apartment name, okay, or apartment address, this port number will represent your flat name. Okay, flat number I can say. So on this particular port number, your application is going to be hosted. Okay, so with on this particular server, on this particular port number, your application is there. So what you are trying to do is you are trying to access that application. So first thing what will happen here is, this is what is going to happen. First, the request will go to the domain name system and it will search for the IP address based on the domain name. And it will fetch the IP address along with the port number based on the domain name. That is what will happen here. Okay. In order to do this process, it will take some time. Yes or no? Guys, yes or no? In order to do this particular process, in order to fetch the IP address based on the domain name, it will take some time, right? Obviously, yes.
Yes.
Right? So that time we are going to call it as DNS lookup time. Okay, that time we are going to call it as DNS lookup time. Okay, let me quickly jump into this slide. Okay, so whatever the time, okay, whatever the time it has taken, okay, to fetch the IP address of the server, okay, based on the domain name, that time we are going to call it as DNS lookup time. So DNS lookup time is nothing but it is the time which has taken to fetch the IP address of the machine or the server based on the domain name. Okay, so whatever may be the request, it will start with the DNS lookup. Okay, DNS lookup is nothing but getting the IP address for the domain name. So the DNS lookup time, okay, I can call this as DNS lookup time, the time taken to do this process. Okay, so generally it should be like 20 to 120 milliseconds. Okay, the best DNS lookup time is nothing but if it is in between 20 to 120 milliseconds, we are good. Okay, our application is working fine as expected. Our domain name system is working fine as expected. That's what we can think of. Okay, immediately after that, after fetching the IP address, right, what it will do? After fetching the IP address, immediately it will try to connect to that particular server, right? So we have client, we have server. After fetching the IP address, okay, it will try to connect to that particular server, right? It will try to hit that IP address and it will try to connect to that IP address. So the next time that we need to know is the connect time. Okay, so what is meant by connect time? Connect time is nothing but it is the time, okay, that is going to take to establish a connection to your web server after the DNS lookup. Okay, from the DNS lookup onwards, like after getting the IP address onwards, till the time it is going to connect to your web server, whatever the time it has taken in between that, right? That time we are going to call it as the connect time. Okay, always this connect time also should be in milliseconds only. Okay, you may get doubt like what is web server? We'll discuss about like the application architecture part in a separate session. In that, I'll explain you what exactly the web server, app server, database server, and how they are going to be integrated or connected, right? So those things we'll learn in our regular sessions, right? But for now, just understand like it's a server. Those who are completely new to performance testing, just think of it as a normal server which will have some data. Whenever if we are trying to access that, okay, we need to establish the connection between the browser as well as your server, right? So that connection we are going to call it as the TCP connection. The time taken to establish that connection we are going to call it as the connect time. Are we clear with this? Please feel free to stop me, guys, if you have any doubts. Okay. So that is what the connect time is. So once after the connection got established, what is the next step? We need to reach that particular page, right? Once after the connection got established, immediately we'll try to reach that particular page, right? So 1 second, someone is trying to join. Let me, yeah, I think everyone joined. Yeah, please, I think lower your hand. Okay. So once after establishing the connection, right, we need to reach that particular page which we are trying to request, right? So in order to do that, what will happen? it will try to search for that particular page, right? So I'll take one example here in order to explain this redirection process. How many of you are aware of this redirection process? What is redirection when it comes to the web applications? I'll take a general example, right? So let us say I'm having one Kirana store, okay, or grocery store in road number 4. Okay, in road number 4, I have one DMart kind of store. Okay, what happened is all my customers always will come to road number 4 and to my shop to purchase the items. But unfortunately, that building it's became old. Okay, so I thought of moving it to some other place. Okay, I got one more shop. Okay, which is available in road number 3, right? So I I moved from road number 4 to road number 3. I completely moved my shop from road number 4 to road number 3, right? But obviously, what will happen? The old customers, okay, they simply know the old shop address itself, right? So for that purpose, what I have done here is I have kept one board here in front of the old shop, okay, which mentions that this shop is moved to road number 3. So what will happen? Those customers who know my old shop, if they are trying to come over there, by seeing the board, they will redirect to the new shop. Right? They are simply redirecting to the new shop. So that is what the redirection over here. In the same way, right, while developing the application, web applications, sometimes what will happen? Initially, they will have one URL, one application URL, right? So after 1 or 2 years, or after doing some modifications, okay, the URL may get changed. If you take the Google as example, right? So initially it was like www.google.com or something like that. After that, it changed to google.co.in. Okay, again it changed to www.google.com, right? So if you type like google.com or google.co.in, whatever it may be, the URL, if you type, it will take you to the same page, right? How the process will happen here means the redirection is happening here. Okay, so whatever the old URL are trying to hit, it will simply bring you to the new URL. Okay, so if any such redirections are there, then in order to redirect from old URL to the new URL, it will take some time. That time we are going to call it as the redirect time. Okay, so redirect time is nothing but it shows how long it takes to follow all the redirects to get the final URL. Hope this part is clear. What is redirection and what is the redirect time? Redirect time is nothing but the time it has taken to follow all the redirects to get the final URL. That time we are going to call it as redirect time. Okay. And the next time that we need to know is first byte. So once after redirecting to that particular URL, okay. So what is meant by first byte that you need to know? Yeah. Before going to that, Raghavan is having some doubt. Yeah. Please go ahead, Raghavan. You can unmute yourself and you can ask your doubt.
Yeah, hi. So can we avoid redirects?
We can't do it. Again, it's always we need to follow that process if redirections are available. Okay, we can ask the developers to remove that old URLs. If they remove it, then that's fine. If the redirection is there in the application, then we need to follow.
Right. Does redirect impacts performance?
Not much, but if we have more redirections, then yes. For some applications, right, you'll have like 4 or 5 redirection requests. Okay, going forward in our regular training sessions, I'll show you like that kind of scenario also. So there, what will happen? You'll have 3 requests or 4 requests. Okay, after hitting like a redirection request for 3 or 4 times, then it will go and hit the main URL. So in those cases, yeah, it will take some time, but it won't impact much.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
So once after redirecting to the final URL, right? What is the expectation? Once after redirecting to the final URL, we should expect some response, right? We are expecting some response from the server, right? So what is meant by first byte here? What is meant by first byte here is nothing but it is the time spent waiting for the first byte of response from the server. Okay, it is the time spent in order to get the first byte of response from the server. That is nothing but your first byte or time to first byte, TTFB. We are going to call it as TTFB, that is time to first byte. So always remember your server will send the response in the form of bytes. Okay, your server will send the response in the form of bytes. Okay, when the first byte of response we got it from the server, that particular time is very, very important. Like if after sending the request, within how many milliseconds you are going to get the first byte of response from the server, not the complete response, only first byte of response from the server, which is very, very important for us. This time to first byte or first byte, okay, should be always in milliseconds. Remember, if this TTFB, time to first byte, is taking like some seconds of time, then it will for sure impact your application performance. Okay, so this time to first byte is so important for us. As a performance tester, we need to look into this for sure. Okay, so that is what the time to first byte is. And the next one is the content download. What is meant by content download? Content download time, we can call it as content download time. So this content download time is nothing but the time spent to download the response to the HTTP request after the latency is over. Okay, so what is meant by latency? Before understanding that, we'll try to understand like what is meant by latency. Any one of you can tell me what is latency? It's the same thing, whatever that is happening just now. I asked some question. In order to give the answer, you are taking some time, right? That means there is some delay, okay, between my action as well as your response, right? So that is nothing but latency. If you know the answer, you'll quickly give the reply back, right? But if you don't know the answer, you'll take some time to understand that or to memorize that and to give the answer, right? So that is nothing but your latency here, right? After the latency is over, like how much time it has taken to download the HTTP request response. That is nothing but your content download time. Okay. So for one particular request, right, if I say what is response time means starting from DNS lookup onwards till the content download time, whatever the time that it has taken, right? The total time from when a request is initiated until the page HTML code has been downloaded. That is nothing but your response time. Are we clear now? What is response time and how it got divided? This is very, very important thing that you need to know as a performance tester. And it's a very basic thing too. So the total time from when a request is initiated until the page's HTML code has been downloaded. That is nothing but your complete response time. So that is nothing but your response time, right? But our requirement is to understand the full page response time, right? So in order to understand the full page response time, we need to understand few more times. Okay. So let's jump into the next part, that is DOM load. Okay. DOM load. What is meant by DOM first? Okay. DOM is nothing but document object model. DOM is nothing but document object model, right? So once after getting the HTML response, right? So what your browser will do is your browser will arrange that HTML response in a proper order, okay, in a document object model. I'll show you how exactly it is going to look like. Okay, let me quickly jump into the browser and let me show you that. See, if I'm going to select this particular request, okay, so if I'm going to select this particular request, I can see some information over here, but along with this request, some other requests are also there, which are like some images, CSS files, JavaScript files, lot of other files are also there. Other requests are also there, right? If I go to the Elements tab here in the developer tools, I can see the DOM structure here. I can see the DOM structure of this HTML page. If you see, this HTML page DOM structure is going to look like this. So this is the main tag, HTML tag, right? Under that, we have some head tag. Okay, we have body tag, we have div tag, right? So the entire page, right? It has divided and it has arranged in a proper way. Okay, arranged in a proper way. If you see right now, okay, we have only HTML tag as well as head and body. If I expand the head, I can see multiple other links inside that, right? And in the same way, if I expand the body, I can also see multiple links that are available, multiple tags that are available, right? If I expand one more inner tag, I can see one more inner tag over here, right? So like this, we have some tree kind of structure, right? This is some tree kind of structure here, right? So this setup, right? This setup is going to be done by the browser automatically. So DOM load is nothing but, in this case, okay, DOM load is nothing but it is the time from when a request is sent until the browser has downloaded the page's HTML file and finished constructing the DOM structure. DOM is a structure. It is a tree kind of structure. After getting the response, okay, from the browser, after getting the response from the server, okay, how much time it has taken for your browser, okay, to do the structure, like to do the tree kind of structure. That is nothing but your DOM load. Are we good with the DOM load first? Any questions here? Okay, understanding that as good. Let me proceed with the next part. Okay, the next thing that we need to know is the DOM content loaded. Okay, so what is meant by DOM content loaded is nothing but this is an event. Okay, this is an event which will trigger once the DOM structure got finished. Okay, once the browser has prepared the DOM structure, immediately what it will do is it will trigger this DOM content loaded event. So once the DOM content loaded event triggered means your DOM structure is completed by your browser. Okay, DOM structure arrangement is completed. Okay, this DOM content loaded indicates that particular event. Okay. Similarly, we need to understand what is page load. Okay, the next time is the page load time. So what is meant by page load time is nothing but, as I mentioned, so each and every application, web application, if you hit one particular URL, that web application will have some images, okay, will have some CSS. CSS means cascading style sheets, which will add some colors, okay, and some structures to your application. If you open the Flipkart application, you'll see the Flipkart application user interface in a more attractive way with different colors. Okay, some proper color on the header and proper color on the footer, right? So some scrolling images in the middle, right? Those things, okay, are going to be handled by your cascading style sheets. And also the next one is the scripts. Scripts here is nothing but the JavaScripts. So your application is also going to have some JavaScript files which will handle the client side validations. So for example, you have one text box, okay, wherein it is asking to enter the phone number. Okay, if you typed some name, let us say if I type my name like Mohan in that text box, okay, but in that text box, I need to enter only the numbers, right? But what I'm doing, I'm typing like Mohan as the name over there in that text box, obviously, which is wrong, right? Immediately what it will do is it will throw one error message here. saying like you need to enter only the numeric values. Okay, how this particular error message is displaying here is nothing but it is because of your JavaScript. And some other files will be there like SVG files, some icons, okay, some button icon or arrow mark icon, some other icons files will be there, right? So those files also we need to take into consideration. Once if you hit one URL, okay, along with the main request, okay, you'll also see these images, CSS files, JavaScript files, and other files, right? So it is the page load time here is nothing but it is the time it has taken, okay, until the page and all the referenced resources like images, CSS files, and JavaScript files, okay, have been fully loaded into the DOM. This is nothing but your page load. Then what is onload? Onload is nothing but onload event. Okay, this is also same like DOM content loaded event. Okay, this is also one more event which will trigger immediately after the page load time, after the page got loaded. Okay, after the page got loaded. Okay, this event will trigger immediately after the page got loaded. Okay, so from starting onwards, once the request got initiated onwards till the last time, like till the onload event got triggered, right? How much time it has taken, that time we are going to call it as full page response time. So full page response time is nothing but the total time spent interacting with the web server and loading the web page and all of its linked images, JavaScripts, and CSS files and other external files. So in order to download all these things or in order to get the response from all these things, right? How much time it has taken, that time we are going to call it as full page response time. Hope it is clear now what is response time and what is full page response time.
Yes, madam.
Any questions, please feel free to ask.
What CSS that you mentioned? I missed it out. Can you please repeat it?
CSS is nothing but cascading style sheets. Okay, if I open your any application, if I open this Flipkart application, right, you'll see on the header side, like you have one Flipkart image with some red color and you have some scrolling images over here, right? And on the footer, you'll see some color over here, right? Some colors are there, right? So these are all the things which are going to be handled by your CSS files. It will add some, sorry?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it will add some proper good looking user interface to your application. That's what I can say.
It is like the diverse as a automation system. It differentiates what is the ID, what is the name, what is it? It is like how to identify us. Maybe this kind of this is the purpose of the CSS, right?
Inside the CSS, we have some tags. So, for example, when it comes to automation wise, if you are saying like, if you want to verify, like, if you want to identify this particular text box, what generally you'll do, you right click on this, you'll go to inspect.
Yeah.
Okay, and in the inspect page, in the inspect, right, under the elements, you will see that particular text box or search box related information.
Yes.
Okay, so this represents the information of that particular text box. Yes, that is completely under the functional testing. But once if we start the non-functional testing, right, we are not much interested on this elements tab. We'll concentrate only on the network tab. Our intention is not to search where exactly the search box is there. Not that kind of work we are going to do here. As a performance tester, we'll try to understand like why this particular request. Okay, let us say there is one request called business here. So why this request took like 950 milliseconds or some 9 seconds or 10 seconds. Let us assume this request it took some 10 seconds. why this particular request took some 10 seconds of time. That we need to understand. If I hover the mouse here, okay, or else here, you can see some information, the content download time, request send time, okay, so waiting for server response. So if you click on this explanation, you'll see more information again related to this particular request. So we'll see these things in our coming sessions, like in our regular sessions, while we are discussing about the developer tools concept. There I will explain what is this waterfall model and other things. But in for your question, right, uh, cascading style sheets will also help in that way. Yes, true. But that is for functional.
Thank you.
Any other questions from anyone? Okay. Understanding that as no, let me quickly show you the application that you are going to test it. So as I mentioned, like in the previous demo also, so this is the Knob Commerce application. This is a e-commerce application kind of thing. So what we'll do is we'll install this application on our local. If you see, this is my IP address. So I installed this application with the help of IIS server. Okay, this is a .NET based application. So I installed this with the help of IIS server. So I'll explain you as a part of this training, like how you are going to install this application on your local and how you are going to start testing this application, right? So in order to install this application, we need to have some database also. So that registered user information should go and store in some database. So in order to do that, like we have SQL Server Management Studio. So we are going to install this SQL Server Management Studio, and inside that we'll create one database, and also we'll try to link our application with that database. So once if I go and register here with some specific username, okay, for example, like let me put like the information as perf demo as the first name, user as last name. Let me give the email ID as perf demo, today's date, like 7/7/2025 @gmail.com, something like this. I'm just giving some random email ID. Okay. And let me give the password as demo user @123. And let me give the confirm password as demo user @123. Okay, let me copy the email so that it will be useful for us, right? I'll copy the email and I'll click on register. Once if I click on register, this user registration got completed successfully, right? Now we need to verify this particular user information is there in the database or not. Okay, so let me log in into the database. So this is how in general we are going to work in our offices, guys. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll explain in the same way. Okay, I'll explain in the same way. So let me quickly check for which particular DB are connected. 1 second. I'll explain all these things, don't worry. Okay, no DB, of course, DB. Okay, let me check. So under this DB, we have some tables. Okay, under the tables, we have some user related information table. Okay, a customer related information table. So under this table, our data is going to store. Okay, under this table, our data is going to store. Okay, so what I'll do, I need to open a new query tab. Okay, and let me try to run one query to just verify here. Okay, select star from customers, select star is this table dbo.customer. Okay, let me type like customer. Okay, so let me select this and oh, sorry, select star from customer, and let me execute this. If I execute this, I can see the information over here. Okay, if I want to, you can see like this particular DB I have used it for the previous batch also. So that's the reason why you can see a lot of email IDs over here which got created at the time of load test. So at the time of load test, whatever that we are going to do, so that information will come and store in the database. Okay, like how we will do in real time, like in the same way, we are going to test the database performance also, as well as we are going to store the information, whatever that got registered over here, okay, in this database too. Okay, that we will verify during our regular sessions. And apart from this, we'll also integrate, we'll also work on the Dynatrace part, and we'll see the each and every option in detail. Like again, whatever that is required for performance testers, we'll see that part, and we'll integrate this particular Dynatrace with JMeter, and we'll run while running the test. We'll also verify how we'll also see how we are going to identify the bottlenecks while running the test, as well as after completing the test also, with the help of Dynatrace. Okay, so on a high level, this is what we are going to do. And as I mentioned, when it comes to the course content part, so we have two sets of courses. Okay, one is the regular course, okay, which every institute will provide. One is the regular course which every institute will provide. So for this, like the course duration will be around like 40 days. Okay, the course duration will be around like 40 days, and the course fee is 10,000. Okay, 10,000. So let's see the course content for this regular training. Okay, regular training which every institute, okay, they will provide. Okay, that regular training course content we'll see right now. So this is the regular training course content. So here on the first module, I'm going to introduce you the performance testing concepts, like what is the performance testing, what is performance testing life cycle. Okay, and also I will simply provide you the overview of JMeter. Okay, and once after completing the performance testing life cycle process, okay, after understanding it more clearly, we'll jump into the introduction of JMeter. And in the second module, we'll try to install the JMeter, and we'll try to set up our first JMeter first test plan. Okay, so we'll start recording our application with the help of JMeter, and we'll simply do the enhancements and other things here. Okay, and in the module 3, we'll go with the enhancement part. In the enhancement part, parameterization is very, very important. We'll do that parameterization part with the help of multiple ways. Okay, we have 4 to 5 different ways with which we can do the parameterization. I'll discuss all the ways. In that, CSV dataset config is one way. Okay, so for like the course content wise, I have given only CSV dataset config here, but don't worry, I'll explain all the 4 to 5 different ways of doing the parameterization here. I don't want this course content to be more lengthy. Okay, so that's the reason why I have given whatever that is important here, but I'll cover all those parts. Okay, so once after covering the parameterization part, we'll jump into the correlation part, which is also the heart of performance testing, I can say. So we'll see what is correlation, how we need to do the correlation, how we'll handle the dynamic values. Okay, how we'll handle the dynamic values, especially in JMeter. Okay, with the help of different elements that are available in JMeter. So those things we'll see as a part of the fourth module. So once after the correlation got completed, we'll jump into the assertion topic, and we'll try to add the assertions to the script, whatever that we recorded and enhanced, and we'll verify how the assertion is going to work with multiple users, right? And we'll verify that here. Once this module got completed, we'll jump into the controllers concept. So we'll have a separate session on controllers concept. We'll see multiple controller options that are available in JMeter, and also we'll see how to use each and every controller option on a high level, like with some example, right, with some real-time example. And once after completing that, we'll jump into the JMeter plugins concept. Okay, we'll try to install the JMeter plugins, plugin manager, and we'll try to install the plugins that are available in JMeter, which are very helpful for us. So we'll discuss about that module. Once after completing that, we'll jump into the timers and think time concept in JMeter. We'll see different types of timers, and we'll do the like the think time setup with the help of the timers. And we'll discuss more about the types of timers in this module. Okay. Once after completing that, we'll jump into the workload modeling part. For calculating the pacing, we'll do that as a part of performance testing life cycle. We'll try to calculate the pacing value for different flows, whatever that we have scripted. And once after completing that pacing calculation, we'll add that pacing value to our scripts. So that we'll do under the module 9. And under the module 10, right? So here we are going to do the load test. So we can run multiple types of test executions like load test, stress test, endurance test, and spike test. But as a part of this training, I'll explain you how we can do the load test and we'll trigger the load test. But also I'll explain you how we can do the setup of other tests. But if time permits, we can trigger it, but I don't think so we can trigger the other types of tests here as a part of this course content. Okay. So coming to the next module, reporting part. So reporting and analysis in JMeter. We'll do some reporting here. So how we'll generate the reports and how we will do the analysis and other things, we'll do it here. Okay. And after that, we'll understand about the JMeter performance metrics, like not only JMeter, performance metrics. We'll understand like what are the client side metrics, server side metrics, those things we'll try to understand. That will be helpful for analyzing the bottlenecks. Okay, that we'll do over here. And after that, we'll try to integrate the JMeter with InfluxDB and Grafana. So to verify like how the test execution process is going on. So that we'll cover it in module 13. And in module 14, I'll cover about the distributed load testing concept. So I'll connect my laptop with my desktop and I'll show you how we can do the distributed testing in JMeter. And we'll also trigger the test in with the help of like distributed testing concept. And also as a next module, 15th module, I'll integrate the JMeter with CI/CD, that is Jenkins. Okay. And CI/CD pipeline, I will see how we will create the freestyle project and pipeline project over here. Okay. Pipeline setup over here. We'll verify that. And when coming to the 16th module, right, I'll go with the database load testing. We'll connect with the, we'll connect our JMeter with the database and we'll do some testing over here. Okay, that I'll cover as a part of module 16. And as a part of module 17, I'll go with the web services concept, like both SOAP as well as REST APIs I will cover here. And as a part of module 18, I'll integrate Dynatrace with the JMeter and I'll show you how we can monitor our application during the load test as well as after the load test. And also I'll explain you how to identify the bottlenecks. Okay, so these are the course content topics that I'm going to cover as a part of regular training. Okay, which is like 40 days. Okay, and the fees for that is 10,000. But if you want like advanced training, okay, if you want like advanced training, okay, with different concepts, like with different advanced concepts, then the course duration will be like 60 days. And for this, the fee will be like 15,000. Okay, the fee is going to be like 15,000. Let's quickly see the course content for this advanced training. Okay, before going to see this, any questions, guys? Any questions here? Okay. So if at all, if the session is going to end, right, please connect with the same link. Okay. Please try to connect with the same link so that we'll see, we'll discuss about this advanced concepts also. Okay. So even though when coming to this advanced concept, right, even though when I mentioned here a 6-week program, but obviously it is not possible for me to cover all these advanced concepts in 6 weeks. For sure, it will go up to 8 weeks. That is nothing but 2 months. Okay. So it is going to be like 60 days complete course. So the course duration will be like 60 days and the course duration hours, in terms of hours, if I say like it will be more than 65 to 70 hours. 70 hours I can say. 70 hours duration will be there. Okay. So here on the first week, the course content here and the concepts here is going to be completely different. Okay, so we'll work here in the way like how we are working on a company. Okay, in my company, if I'm working, right, if I get one particular project, how I am going to start, right? In the same way, we'll start with the kickoff meeting and we'll try to understand multiple business objectives here, and we'll try to identify the SLAs, okay, and the number of users count, and lot of things we'll do it in the kickoff meeting, right? Once after identifying all these things, we'll identify the critical business flows, okay, which particular flows we need to do the performance testing, that we will understand here, okay, we'll identify here. So as a part of day three, right, I'll discuss about different SLAs, service level agreements, and the KPIs that we need to follow. Okay, we'll prepare the NFR document, like a non-functional requirement document, okay, in this particular day three. And in the next day, we'll develop the test plan document. We'll create the test plan document, and also we'll develop like traversal flow document, okay, which is very, very critical for us. So we'll do that also here as a part of uh, this particular training. Okay, so once after preparing that, we'll check all the documents and we'll finalize whether everything is fine or not. Okay, we'll have a group discussion and we'll finalize that. And later what we'll do is we'll also try to install the Git, okay, GitHub on your local, and we'll try to create one repository. So going forward, whatever the scripts that you are going to develop, so we'll push that particular scripts to the repository. Okay, and also on the next day, we'll discuss about like the project schedule as well as activities. Okay, like we'll identify the flows, right? Whatever the flows that we have identified. So that particular flows we'll divide among ourselves. Okay, and whatever the works that are assigned to us, we need to work on that particular scripts, and we need to develop that, we need to push that scripts to the Git repository. So in the same way, like how in a company, like if we have multiple team members, how the work is going to be distributed among everyone, in the same way we are going to distribute the work here too. Okay, and on the day 7 we'll review and adjust the plan, and if any other changes or modifications are required, we'll finalize all the modifications on the day 7. And in the next module, we'll simply jump into the scripting part, that is the JMeter. So I'll first, before going with the JMeter, I'll explain you how you can install this application, whatever that I've shown you, right, on your local. Okay, how you are going to install this application on your local, and how you are going to install the SQL Server on your local, and how we can connect this application with SQL Server. That environment we are going to like configure it on our local. And once after doing that, we'll start installing the JMeter, and we'll try to understand the JMeter basics here. And once the JMeter basics got completed, we'll jump into the scripting part. We'll try to record the flow, and we'll try to do the enhancements by doing the parameterization, correlation, all the things. Okay, we'll cover it here in the week 2. Okay, week 2 completely, and week 3 also. Okay, we are going to do the scripting itself. Both week 2 and week 3, we'll work on the scripting part. We'll see multiple correlation concepts. Okay, we'll see some advanced correlation concepts also, like when left boundary is there, right boundary is not there, how we will need to handle, right? When both left and right boundaries are keep on changing, how we need to handle the situation, right? Those things we'll cover here as a part of this uh, week 3 module. Okay. Coming to the next stage, once after completing the scripting part, we'll prepare the workload modeling, okay, and we'll start executing the tests. Okay, so in the test execution process, we'll do the load test. We'll start with the baseline test first, and also after that we'll do the load test. We'll run the stress test. We'll run the spike test also, and also we'll trigger the endurance test. Okay, and we'll try to understand like how the memory leaks will happen, right? And what exactly the reason for memory leaks. We'll try to understand that here as a part of the week number 4. Okay, as a part of week 4. So here in this case, right, in this particular course content, I'm going to execute like all the tests, which includes like spike test, stress test, as well as endurance test also. We'll also review all the results for each and every test, and we'll finalize our analysis also here. So once that is done, I'll jump into the next concept, that is the web services concept. Okay, so where I'll explain like web services related to SOAP as well as REST APIs, as well as database testing, InfluxDB, Grafana integration, and distributed testing concept. So I'll explain all these concepts here in a more deeper way. Okay, and again, uh, each and everything, whatever that we are doing, we need to upload it to GitHub repository. Okay, these files, whatever that we are doing, all these files we are going to upload or push to Git repository, and from there itself we are going to get it. And also I forgot to add here, we'll add like Jenkins concept also here. We'll do the Jenkins concept also here. Okay, so this Jenkins, right, we'll do it with the help of pulling the repository from the GitHub. So while running the test on Jenkins, right, obviously your CI/CD pipeline, if you are creating the pipeline, so in the pipeline creation on one particular stage of the pipeline, you need to pull the repository, okay, from the GitHub, and then you need to execute the scripts, whatever that is there in that repository. Okay, the same thing we are going to do it here as a part of this advanced training. In the normal training, that concept is not there. Remember, in the normal training, Git concept itself is not there. Okay, and we'll add Docker also. So we'll install Docker on our machine. Okay, and also with the help of Docker, we'll do the InfluxDB and Grafana integration with JMeter. So there, the Docker related concepts also I'm going to cover. Okay, so as a part of week 5, we are going to do all these things. Again, as I mentioned, here I'm mentioning it as week 5 and week 6, but obviously it will go up to week 8. For sure, it will be like complete 60 days session, right? And as a part of last week, right, we'll jump into the BlazeMeter concept. Okay, we'll try to understand how we can get the overview of BlazeMeter and how we can create this account in BlazeMeter. And also we'll try to trigger some tests, okay, from BlazeMeter. And we'll try to understand how the cloud testing process is happening with the help of BlazeMeter. That is the important thing. And along with that, the major thing and very, very important thing nowadays is Azure App Service, Azure load testing. So first what we'll do is we'll go with the Azure account creation. Once after creating the account, we'll go for the Azure App Service and we'll deploy one application on Azure App Service. And we'll try to create one script related to that app application, and then we will try to do the load test with the help of Azure load testing service that is available. Okay, and also we'll try to integrate the pipeline creation also. We have, as we already have the Git repository, we'll try to bring that repo over here. Okay, and we'll try to execute the test from the pipeline. Okay, that also we'll try to do here. And also we'll simply monitor the Azure application, okay, with the help of Azure application insights, and we'll see how the server side metrics are there with the help of the Azure app insights. Okay, and also we'll try to compare the CLI result, okay, JMeter command line interface result along with the BlazeMeter result and Azure load testing result to verify whether we are getting the same response time in all the 3 places or not. We'll do that. And finally, we'll go with the findings and results for this particular 3. Okay. So this is what the course content of advanced training. So as I mentioned, for advanced training, the course fees is going to be like 15K and it is going to be like 60 days. It will be around 70, like 100%, it will be like 70 hours of duration, 70 plus I can say.